Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls coming to you from the West Coast. Today I wanted to share a couple of things that I've made for, or I'm starting to make for Valentine's Day. And these are pop-up flower vases. They're double-sided. They do fold mostly flat if you wanted to put them in an envelope or to post them. So I'll show you two different kinds. These are basically the same, just slightly different. Um, this one I made a little bit narrower, and then I used a different Centura pearl with embossing folder, and I used vellum flowers on this one. This one, I used a different embossing folder and inked on that. It's a little bit larger. This one, I started out thinking maybe I'd make it look like a vase, and then I kind of liked the idea of more of a pot. So that's what I was going for on this one. The other thing that you can do with these is they've got little slots. So if you wanted to put a personal message or a gift card in them, there's a little spot right there. I haven't made my little tag yet, and there's one on this one too, right here. I don't know if you can see that. But anyway, I'll show you how to make those. They're actually pretty simple. They take a bit of time because of all the flowers, but I think it's worth it. So let me show you from the top and from the side. A lot of fun to make. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, we're going to start by making the vase part of the flower arrangement. And we've got two pieces of paper that are 4 by 5. And basically what I did to make the angle is I measured in 3/4 of an inch on each side. And then I'm going to cut that angle there and there. So let me measure it on both. And just come in, put a little mark with a pencil. And then I'm going to use my guillotine to just cut from that corner down to the mark. Oops. Okay, on both sides. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on this piece. And that gives us the shape. Now, I personally liked the corners rounded so they weren't so sharp. And I tried to use a corner rounder, which actually works on this corner, but you can't get a corner rounder on that one. So I just took my scissors and sort of rounded it, just like nothing, just to try and soften those edges a little bit. And you can see I didn't take, you can see how little I'm taking off. And I'm cutting both pieces at once so that they're identical in size and shape. And you can see what a small amount I snipped off, but it just helps soften those corners. Now I'm going to emboss it, and I used this 6 by 6 embossing folder. I don't know, can't remember where it came from, but you're just going to put one piece in at a time, line it up, and run it through. All right. And then I used, not that one, I used Pale Fig, the Harmony Water Reactive ink, to give it some color, and just kind of go around a little bit darker on the edges. And then you want to get a little bit of, so just kind of ink and then come off and come on, so you get that little bit of darker edge on the side, on each edge. And just go all the way around. And if you turn the paper instead of the ink pad, then at least the ink on your glass mat only stays in one spot, and it makes it a lot easier to clean up. Once you get that edge done, just take a little bit and very softly just rub over the center, because you just want to kind of pick up the embossing. You don't want the whole thing to be the pale fig. You just want to try and get the color on that embossing just to highlight the embossed detail. That's pretty good. And you can, darken it as much as you want. You can use any color you want. You can use any embossing folder you want. You don't have to emboss. If you had patterned paper or maybe metallic paper, you wouldn't necessarily ink it, or maybe you wouldn't even want to emboss it. It just depends on what you did. I kind of liked the look of the embossing. I think it adds to it a lot. And if you darken the edges and make it lighter in the center, it also gives it a sense of a little bit more sense of roundness, which is what I was going for also, to make it look a little more like a pot. And that pale fig doesn't really show up, but it is on the mat, so I'm going to wipe that off. Okay, so here's my pot. They're going to go back to back. Now I'm going to make some flowers to go in them. You can use whatever flower dyes you want. I've got daisies for this one. I used the daisy dye from the daisy collection, the Crafter's Companion daisy collection. I'll show you in this one. I used flower forming dyes, this one, and these, that are also Crafter's Companion dyes. But I mean, and you can make them, use any one you want. And you can see in this one, I had a smaller shape and I used a different embossing folder, but you can use whatever you want. To give these some life, I like to use, I like to ink on them. And basically what I did is I took my little finger dauber and crushed velvet, and I just kind of started in the center and just put a little bit of darker ink in the middle. And just very soft, so it just sort of fades out. And then go down to the next size. Same kind of thing. And on the last one, I tried to put a little bit darker center for the center of the flower, and then very soft fade out. But I tried to put a little bit of a darker center in that. And looks a little strange right now, but when we layer them all on top, it'll be fine. I'll show you. I also like to shape them, because I think if you just stack them up like this, let me show you. If you just stack them up like this, they just look extremely flat and boring. So what I did is I take my pokey tool and I go around each petal and I just put my pokey tool right in the middle and I just bend them up on each petal. And that gives it just a little bit of dimension. You can curl them under the other way if you want, or curl them up, or anything that you like. You can bend them down, you can, whatever you like to do, but I just like to give them a little bit of dimension other than just laying flat. And it does take a minute to do. I tried putting them on a piece of foam. So I have a foam mat, and I tried, just kind of doing that. And it basically works, but I don't know if you can see how it's bending the cardstock there, and I didn't like the look of that. So while that's much faster, I liked the outcome from this a lot better. So just go around, take your time. I did some of my flowers on the other one that I showed you, the other vase I showed you. This one, put it over here. I don't know if you can see that, but I did these out of vellum, and then I just inked around the edges instead of inking in the middle. I just took that little finger dauber and I inked the edges instead of the vellum, and I like the looks of the vellum. It looks pretty, but I wanted to try the daisies because I like daisies, even though, yes, I don't know, I guess they have purple daisies, I don't know, but you can see these are vellum, and then I inked around the edge. Okay, and once you have them all kind of shaped the way you want, just take your tacky glue, put some tacky glue right in the center of the large flower. Then you're going to take the middle one and put on top of the large one, and you're just going to offset it so the petals are in between the other one, and press down. And the nice thing about a wet glue is if you don't get it exactly right, you can kind of twist it around before it grabs. Then you're going to put another dab tacky glue. Now you can use foam pads, you can use 3D glue gel, you can use anything that you want. Since I already shaped the petals, I just used tacky glue. And offset the petals again and push down. Now see that one I got right on there, but spin it around a little bit. Just push those down. And then for the centers, you can use gems. You can use a piece of cardstock. You can leave them just like that if you like. I kind of liked the look of glitter glue in the center. So I just put a dab of, this is a rose gold glitter glue. And then I'm going to set those to the side to dry because that glitter glue needs to dry before I can do anything with them. And let's go back to our vase. So we've got our two vase pieces. Now we want this to go like this. So we need something in the middle that we can attach the flowers to, but I want it to go flat. So I took 2 pieces of cardstock. These are 8.5 by 3 3/4, scored at 1/2, and then this is scored at 1/2, 4, 4.5, and 8, and it creates this little box that when you glue it together, it will fold flat, and it will go there. And I've got 2 of them, so they will go inside here, and then the other one will go there, and then the other side on that, and then it will fold flat, but it'll give you that center section to mount the flowers onto. Now the other thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to put so I've got 2 of those, so let me go ahead and glue those together. Now these I'm going to put in between there, and that will give me something to glue the flowers to, but the whole thing will still fold flat. But I wanted to add a little gift card holder. And you can do a gift card holder. It can be for a gift card. It could be for a little secret message, a little note, whatever. So I've got a piece of paper that's 3.5 by 4, and I just scored it at a 1/2 inch on 3 sides. And I took my scissors and I just trimmed out I mean, you can do it actually just like that. Or, I mean, you basically just want to trim that off, trim the corners off. Because you're going to glue this onto the side, onto here, and you can, like that, just to one edge. And now you can slip a little note in there, you can slip a gift card in there, whatever, you know, you want to do. But it's a nice way to do that. And then I'm going to put it right in the middle between, actually I'm going to put it on one end. So I'll put it like this, and then I'll put the vase on there, and it'll be, and you can put a little card, a little slip with a ribbon or anything in there. So let's get that mounted on. But this is a good way to do, I mean, it can be a gift card, but it can also just be a little note that says Happy Valentine's Day or Happy Birthday, or, you know, thinking of you, or whatever. And you can just put it on a little piece of paper with a, like a tag with a ribbon tied on the side, so that they, you know, someone sees it and knows to pull it out. And you just want to kind of line it up on there. I'm going to make sure it doesn't go over that fold where it folds, is going to fold. Just push so that it's grabs. It's like that. And then, so let's say I had, let me find a piece of paper. Oh, here's one. So let's say I stamped a little message on there. It would slide right in there. And then I could put, you know, a little hole punch with a ribbon on there, so it was easy, you knew to pull it out. Then we're going to glue these two things together like that. So let's do that. You just want to get these even. And then once they're even, you can kind of flatten them and push down so that the glue will get grabbed nice and well. And then there's that. Now we're going to glue one side on here, and then we'll put the other on the other side. And I'm going to make it even with the top. So we'll do it this way so you can see. We're going to make it even across the top and just kind of straight there like that. Okay? So, and just be careful that you don't glue over the edge of the, you want to glue on that piece, but you don't want to glue over here, because you don't want to glue your little message or your gift card flap closed. So we're going to put it, we're going to try and center it and make it even. All right, with the top. And that looks pretty good. The wet glue gives you a minute to kind of move it around, and then just flatten and push. Yeah, okay. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other side. With the other side as possible. So when this is straight, they're in the right spot. So if you're looking, looks pretty good. So if you're looking down, this is even. Flatten that. Now, if you made this narrower, this wouldn't show when it's flat. See how that sticks out when it's flattened? But the problem with making it narrower is then it's narrower here, and then you have less space up here to attach your flowers in. So I opted for the wider here so that I have more room for my flowers or my decorations. And I just know when it's flat, that's going to show. But I'm okay with that. So now once that's in there, get it nice and pressed down. then it's just time to decorate. And I cut a whole bunch of foliage from various dies, and then I cut, since I'm going to use these for Valentine's Day, I cut two hearts. I actually used the triple easel heart dies, and I cut two hearts out of Centura Pearl, and I glued them back to back with a 1/4 inch strip of cardstock. This is actually doubled cardstock so that it's a little bit stiffer, because I didn't have, I used some scraps and they weren't as thick. And then this is that center die, and that one, and there's glitter card underneath, and then the mirror, brushed mirror on the top, back to back again, the 1/4 inch strip of white cardstock in there. Okay, so my flowers are all dry. I let them sit overnight. So what I've done, taken my little 1/4 inch strips, and as I mentioned before, I doubled these because I wanted them a little bit sturdier, and this is not super sturdy white cardstock. So, and then just put a dab of glue at the end, and you're just going to glue this onto the back of the flower. And then what I did is I glued the flowers back to back because I want it to look nice from both sides. And this kind of hides the back and lets me just use one stem for flowers on both directions. So just kind of center it over the top, which the daisies actually look really good back to back. Let's press that down, and then see, they look good both directions. So let me do one more for, and what I did is I had 3 flowers on each side, and then the 3 hearts kind of in the middle. And I've got pink and purple flowers. Not on there. This is just tacky glue. And if you offset them, then it looks even better, because it makes the flower look a little bit fuller from both sides. So they look like that. And now you're ready to decorate. So you're just going to stand this up, and let's start with our hearts because they go in the middle. I'm going to put my big purple heart here, and you kind of want to decide where you want to put them first. And I'm going to put the pink ones on each side. So I'll put the purple one in first. And you're just going to put glue on one side of the white, and then slide it in and press it down up against one of the interior things. And you can kind of slide it over to close it to help get pressure on it if you want or need to. Just like that. And then we're going to do the pink one. And this one I'm going to put to the front of the other one. So I'm going to put the glue on here. But this time I'm going to put it on the front of that side. Just add a little bit of an angle so it's kind of going out. I want it more to the side. And you have to decide how tall you want to make these, and how wide your vase is, and how much of an angle you put them on, based on what you want to do. Like if you want to put it in a box, if you want to try and fit it in an envelope or an enveloper, an envelope box, or if you're just going to hand deliver it. Because as you can see, mine are quite tall and quite spread out. So that's not going to, there's no way even though it folds flat, it's not going to fit in. I mean, it would fit in an envelope, but it would have to be a big envelope. So you get that on there, and then we'll start putting in our flowers. And you just build it up however you want. So just like that, I'm going to spin it around and do the, and you can see even from that side, because I put the flowers back to back, it takes twice as many flowers, but it looks really a lot better because you can see them. And so even from the other side, you'll be able to see them. So you don't have to get it really full of flowers on one side because the ones from the other side are going to show through as well. And you could use, instead of white cardstock, if you wanted to make it look like stems, you could use green cardstock, but for the most part, mine are going to be covered up with foliage and stuff anyway, so I just used scrap white cardstock that I had. So that's looking pretty good from both sides. And now I'm going to tuck the foliage in. And I just cut all kinds of foliage. So I have some that are darker colored. Um, I have some that are these bright green leaves, individual leaves that I've got that I can tuck in. I've got some of these little fern-like things. I've got some, these were actually from one of the roses. And I've got these, which is even a different green. And just kind of poke them in wherever. I tried to use some of these, like this one, on the white paper that was holding up the heart, just to kind of make it not stand out so much since it's white. I'll lay it down, maybe that'll be easier to see what I'm doing. And then Okay. All right. And that's basically it. We're done. You can see it from both sides. It does fold flat, sort of. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of thickness because of the double-sided flowers and everything. But if you wanted to fold it up, you could. Now, if you prefer, you could actually just make a full-size box to go in here um, as well. But if you made a box that opened on the end, then you could fill it with a candy box or something. But as you can see, I've still got that little slot in there, so I can put a little note or a gift card in there. I'm really happy with that. And yeah, I think I'm going to put a love sentiment on the front. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And make sure you share your makes if you make one. Thanks. Have a good day.